Good evening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first Power Hour series of the 22-23 school year. It's already there. We're there already. And what wonderful way to start it off with our student nutrition services of Hillsborough County Public Schools. We are going to be having lots of other information sessions about getting to know Hillsborough County Public Schools. This one sort of kind of came out of that vision, but they really have something to talk about today other than just about them and the wonderful things they do for your students every single day of the school year, feeding thousands and thousands and thousands of children. Today is much more important than that. I mean, really not more important than that, but it is important. So anyway, I want to introduce this powerhouse team. Today we have Lori Brandon. She's the operations manager for Student Nutrition Services. Hi, Lori. Thank you for being with us. We also have Emily Diaz. She's the coordinator for Student Nutrition Services in the training area. And so she's going to be conducting this same session for our Spanish-speaking families on Thursday. So if you have any Spanish-speaking friends who would like, or family members who would like to join on Thursday, we'll also send out that link, put that link in there. That will be done all in Spanish. And then we have Lori James, who is the manager for administration for Student Nutrition Services in the Center for Nutrition and Culinary Services. And our presenter for the day is Shani Hall. She's the general manager of Student Nutrition Services in the Center for Nutrition and Culinary Services. So at this time, I'm going to turn it all over to Shani. Ms. Hall, welcome, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I so appreciate the chance to talk to everybody about some exciting initiatives that we have going on in Student Nutrition Services this year. And what an opening. Thank you, Angela, for the excitement. And I want to thank the other members of my team who are also in the webinar, and just want to thank you for listening. So what I wanted to talk about today is an exciting program that is just getting started in Hillsborough County Schools this year for the very first time. And it is called Community Eligibility Provision, or CEP for short. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And if you have any questions while I'm giving the overview, please feel free to use the Q&A box or the chat box so I can answer those after the brief information session. So you may be wondering, what is CEP? That's an acronym that, there's all these acronyms out there. What does it mean? Well, Community Eligibility Provision is actually a meal program federal reimbursement option. So it is a way that we can provide meals and claim meals when we participate in the National School Lunch Program and the School Breakfast Program, which Hillsborough County Schools does participate in those. CEP schools serve all meals at no cost to students for 4 successive school years. So that is a real benefit to families, particularly now, because if you've been listening to the news recently, you've found out that the USDA waivers that allowed free school meals for all students during the pandemic have ended. So this is a way that we can continue bringing good, nutritious meals to students throughout the county at CEP schools for 4 years. So CEP schools do not collect free and reduced meal applications, and the meal reimbursement, which is typically figured out based on those applications, are actually based on a formula that uses data from other public programs. So the first question you're asking is, what's the difference between a CEP school and a non-CEP school? Well, for a school to be eligible to participate in CEP, it has to have 40% of its enrolled students who are certified for free meals without a free and reduced meal application. So it's basically, if you have 40% of the enrolled students that are getting benefits from other programs, like the ones that are listed on this slide here, And if 40% of the enrolled students do participate in one of these benefits, then the school is eligible to be a CEP school. So the programs that you see here are SNAP or food stamps, TANF, FDPIR, which is the food distribution program for Indian reservations, students that receive Medicaid and are certified with direct certification, Head Start, homeless, migrant, and then children living in a group home or who are wards of the state. So CEP is an option that really benefits kids. It is the right thing to do for kids. There is data that CEP schools, students that are enrolled in CEP schools are 3 times less likely to be food insecure than students who are at non-CEP schools. So CEP is extremely beneficial and it fights hunger. It's also been associated with improved student outcomes. CEP promotes equity and reduces stigma that is associated with free meals. Though the last 2 years, all students have been receiving free meals, prior to the pandemic, there still has been stigma associated with students who receive free meals. And even though school districts, including Hillsborough County Public Schools, go to great lengths to protect that data so people don't know if students are receiving free meals, it still can be a source of stigma. So participating in CEP removes the stigma and everybody receives free meals. Most importantly, right now, as we're coming out of the pandemic and as families continue to be dealing with financial strain from not only the pandemic, but also the inflation that all of us are feeling, to be able to not have to worry about packing a lunch or paying for lunch is it's a comfort to families during this time. And just nationally, there's really been a lot of stress associated to students coming back to school this year because of getting free meals for the last 2 years and getting used to that benefit. So it really, I think there's a lot of stress that families may be dealing with if they have to worry about that now. So a question that a lot of people are asking is, why now? Because community eligibility provision has actually been around for several years, but it's been, we're such a large district, it's been kind of hard to get all the buy-in to participate. But because the USDA waivers that I was just talking about, when those ended on June 30th and everybody was going back to, the free and reduced meal application process, and knowing what a strain this is putting on all the families, not only across the state of Florida, but across the entire country, the USDA has been working closely with state agencies, including the Florida Department of Agriculture, which is what governs the school nutrition programs, and then the Florida DOE, which governs the academic programs. So there was a push to all districts where they were basically saying, look, we are needing to do this for the students in Florida and across the country. So, you need to really look at what schools are eligible and go ahead and try to make this happen in your districts. And there are a lot of schools in Hillsborough County who are eligible and who we are going to be offering CEP at. It's a total of 174 schools, which based on last year's data, those 174 schools capture 84% of all of the free and reduced eligible students in Hillsborough County schools, as well as the other students that attend that school, those schools who would need to apply. So at last count, when we're looking at how many students are going to benefit, we're looking at approximately 127,000 students who will benefit from free meals. Now, I know for many families who have been getting the free meals in the last 2 years, If your student is going to a CEP school, it really won't seem that different to you because it will be kind of the same thing. They'll just go through the line and they will have no cost for meals. But instead of around 250 schools having to go back to apply for free and reduced benefits, we're only looking at about 56 schools who will need to do that. So we do have on our website, which I can show following the presentation, on our website, there is a school list and it lists every single school and then whether that school is a CEP or a non-CEP school. So I know we have probably mostly parents on this call. So this is important for you to know. What you want to do is first determine if your child or children attend a CEP school. And so we will show you where to find that on the website, and I'll include the link in the chat box when we're done with this portion of the presentation. And you can open that up and see if your school or schools are CEP schools. If you have students enrolled in a CEP school, you do not need to fill out a meal benefit application to receive free and reduced meal benefits, because if the student's enrolled in the CEP school, they automatically receive free meals, breakfast and lunch. But if you have a student enrolled in a CEP school and one or more students enrolled in a non-CEP school, it is important that you go ahead and fill out a meal benefit application, and that will follow the students who are not in the CEP school. You do want to put all students, all children in the home on that application, even if they attend CEP schools, so that your household size still has all the people that it needs to. If you have a student and they are enrolled in a CEP school, and you withdraw them and you transfer them to another Hillsborough County public school, and it's a non-CEP school, then you will need to fill out a benefit application at that time, because the free status from the CEP school will only be extended to the student for 10 days. So what if your child does not attend a CEP school? Well, all students in the entire district will receive breakfast at no cost. That's called universal breakfast, and we've participated in that for several years. But if your child is a student in a non-CEP school, then you need to fill out the free reduced meal application to get approved for free or reduced lunch. Any students that are approved for free or reduced lunch will receive lunch at no cost. And to find that meal benefit application, you can go to the Hillsborough Schools website, and there is a link on the homepage, or you can go to the departments, find Student Nutrition Services, and then click on Meal Application School Meal Benefits. And it looks like that on the slide right there. And every year, we will evaluate the non-CEP schools to see if any of them become eligible. The eligibility data comes out in April of each year. So at the end of the school year, we will look to see if any additional schools have met the 40% guideline, and then we'll apply for those for the following school year. So our meal prices will only be really in effect for the 56 non-CEP schools. So as I stated, whether your child goes to a CEP or a non-CEP school, breakfast is free. Elementary lunch for a student that is not approved eligible for free or reduced meals will cost $2.25, and middle and high school lunch will cost $2.75, but lunch in all of our CEP schools is free to students. And then I have a contact us slide. I just wanted to let you know, to find our website, you just go to hillsboroughschools.org/ SNS, and that will take you to our page. And on the page has the meal benefit application, as well as the list of CEP and non-CEP schools, which I'll be putting that link in the chat in just a moment. And then, of course, our phone number if you have any questions. But that's the basis of CEP. And what's really, different this year is that for the majority of our schools, as I said, 174 schools, it's not like you're going to see a massive difference because we've been on, free meals for all students for the past 2 years. The real change is going to be for the 56 non-CEP schools, where the parents will have to go back to filling out that application when they haven't had to for a while. So I think what I'll do before we do questions, Angela, if it's okay, is go ahead and put the link to the CEP and non-CEP schools in the chat box.
Yes, that was a question that someone had in our Q&A.
Okay.
So
Yep.
She's going to put the link to where you can find out whether your child's school is a CEP. And as you can see, if it's in the beads, you can see it right there on the screen right now. But you'll have access to the entire list. And as she's doing that, if you all want to start asking any questions. I do have a question. And this could be for anybody in the team, anybody on the team. Is there a different menu for parents to order from? So I guess if a parent wanted to come to school to eat with their child, is there a different menu for parents to order from?
There is not a different menu for parents, and parents can come and pay for a meal just like they could before. But the menus will be the same throughout the district for all of our schools. I will take this moment though to just remind everybody that we continue to have supply chain issues. And so if your children have been in Hillsborough County schools a long time, then no doubt you have noticed that our menu choices have slimmed down. We used to be able to offer more choices than we can now. We're going to be starting off the year that way too, as we wait and see what's happening with our distributors. But we hope that just like we hope at the grocery store, we hope that gets better for us as the years goes on. But to answer your question again, no, parents will have access to the same menu options.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. So there's another question saying, does this mean that the district will not have stats on the percentage of free and reduced students district-wide?
That is an excellent question, and one that I get a lot. That is correct, that any of the CEP schools will not be, that data won't exist because we won't be collecting applications. And as a matter of fact, for schools that participate in CEP, we are prohibited from processing applications. So we are working very closely with other departments and the district leadership, because other departments that utilize free and reduced data will have to use other acceptable data points. Title I, for example, that's probably the most common question that I get. How will Title I funds be allocated if all the CEP, all the Title I schools are CEP schools? And so Title I's working very closely with Department of Ed to determine what alternate data points will be used to allocate the Title I funds. But one thing I will say about that for sure is that participating in CEP has no negative effect on Title I funds. That has nothing to do with your free and reduced percent. We will still get the same amount of money. They will just allocate it using different data. And you're muted,
Okay,
Angela.
thank you for that. Thank you for that. I know I hit it twice. All right, so another question that says, hello, some of the social service benefits children receive require a letter indicating that the child receives free FRL benefits. Do you recommend a family, even if at a CEP school, still complete a meal benefit paperwork so that they have the needed paperwork for outside agencies to confirm the FRL status?
Well, for most of those agencies, the CEP letter will work. And so for parents that have students that attend a CEP school, you will get a letter in your back to school paperwork that says that your student attends this school and they are a CEP school. And a lot of agencies will take that letter without even a name on it. However, if you need a letter with a student name on it, you can call the student nutrition office and ask for a letter, and we'll verify that the student attends a CEP school and provide a letter with the name on it for you.
Wow, service with a smile. Thank you for that. All right, so it was another question. I apologize. Is there a different menu for kids to order from? I know we said no, adults will have the same menu as the children. Will there be different menus for kids?
No, it'll be the exact same menu.
Okay. Now, I know you kind of talked about this a little bit about choices because of delivery. So I know they used to have choices between this and this. How will it be? Will they not have as many choices?
Well, yes, we anticipate we are starting the menu off with 2 hot choices and sometimes a cold choice in addition to that. And throughout the last 2 years, we've always menued that. We've just run into some situations where, because there just was a supply chain shortage of several food items last year, that perhaps the school wasn't able to provide both choices, throughout the lunch period. But we wrote our menu, over the summer, actually earlier than that. We've been working closely with our distributors to try to give them enough notice to where they would have, enough product. But they are under the same, they're under the same stresses that our commercial retailers are. And even though they can place the orders with the vendors, sometimes there's not a truck or sometimes there's not a driver. And so although we hope, my fingers are crossed, that we're going to go back to being able to provide all the choices, which again, we're starting small. We're starting with just 2 hot choices and maybe a cold choice because we don't want to overpromise, but we're hoping that we won't see the same shortages that we dealt with last year. My fingers are crossed that will happen.
All right, and my fingers are crossed too, because I tell you, when I was school-based, I loved the school lunches. All right, so there are some after-school and or community programs that require the free or reduced lunch form as they enter into that program. They use examples of the rec centers. Yes. What do we provide if we no longer have to fill out the application if their school is a CEP school?
So the parents will receive that CEP letter in their back to school paperwork. And I would just tell the parents to hold on to that, put it somewhere safe. So when you need it to provide to programs, we are working closely with the district as well as community partners to see what other means, they might accept if they used to get the letter and maybe they want something else. Maybe they want some other proof that the student attends a CEP school. So I think in the future, and we're going to be establishing a CEP homepage attached to our student nutrition page, whereas the district determines different things that can be used for different programs, we're going to put those all in one place so that parents can find out. For now, we definitely will have that CEP letter in the back to school paperwork. And as I said, you can always call our office if you need a letter with a name on it. And then as we determine if there is something else needed, we will update our website when those decisions are made.
Perfect. So the question is, school meals will be healthier this year. I ask why children eat too much pizza, hamburgers, and that kind of thing. I guess they're asking, will the school meals be healthier this year?
Well, I just want to remind everybody that we have to follow very strict nutrition standards, much stricter than you have to buy, than things you would buy at the store. For example, you know, a lot of people complain about the pizza, but I try to remind parents that, you know, it's one slice of a whole grain crust with low fat cheese. And if there's, you know, a pepperoni, it's a low fat turkey pepperoni. So when you're looking at that pizza versus, you know, ordering a pizza from, you know, a delivery service and then if they're like me, you know, eating multiple pizzas at one sitting, you know, it's actually much, much healthier. So, you know, pizza is one of our most popular menu items. So we will keep pizza on the menu. The same thing can be said for our sandwiches. You know, we have whole grain buns and lean meats. And so we try to find things that children will eat. And so we do ask the kids, you know, what are you looking for? Because we don't want to put food out there that, you know, I have kids, you have kids, you know, that aren't going to eat the food that we put out there. So we try very hard to strike a balance to find good tasting quality food that meets all of these very strict nutrition standards that the students will eat. So, you know, we welcome you to come and take a look at the food we have. I hope it comes in, you know, I have to say that. But I just want you to know that as we're selecting those products that may seem like they're unhealthy to you, that they're a much healthier version of products that you're getting outside.
So that pizza might have low fat cheese on it, is what you're saying.
Right.
So, right.
It is a whole grain crust and it's low fat cheese. And so, I mean, you know, don't tell the kids that because then they won't eat it. But yes, it's a much healthier product. And boy, we had to really spend some time to find one that was acceptable because it is hard. And anybody that tries to get those healthier items at the grocery store, which you can't find a lot, you know, trying to find a cheese that will melt, trying to find, you know, the whole grain crust that doesn't look so dark brown. It's all of those things that we have to test and, you know, see how they do in our ovens, because it is really challenging to get good tasting food that meets such strict rules.
And I thank you for that, because I know when I was at the school, I ate from the school cafeteria every day. And I was very pleased with, I'm very pleased. That's all I have to say. All right. So as a CEP school, but not a Title I school, are there further benefits to having the CEP status? For example, eligibility to access fresh fruit and veggie programs like at some Title I schools.
Well, the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program is a separate program. It's not tied to Title I. We apply for that from the Student Nutrition Office every year, and that program is granted by the state, and they select generally the highest DC or free and reduced status. So if you're a CEP school, you may be eligible for those things. We apply for as many schools that are willing to participate, and then we find out how many schools are awarded. So to answer your question, will CEP be more eligible? Possibly, yes. Can't say for sure since we haven't applied based on that data, but it could. So we'll definitely be looking at that. Other programs, yes, grant programs when, and I can't say specifically for all grants, but yes, when there are grants and free and reduced data is looked at for eligibility for grants, yes, a CEP school would be 100% free, which would allow a school to apply for a lot more grants. So yes, there are going to be more opportunities for schools to get different benefits. And I think we're just learning as we go. I think as we go through this year and we see, you know, exactly what is eligible, and working with neighboring districts who have been CEP in the past to see, you know, what kind of benefits have they found. I think after this first year, we're just gonna know a lot more.
Okay, so the question was, will CEP schools have a different menu than the non-CEP schools?
And the answer is no. Everybody will have the same menu.
And then it said, I might have missed this earlier on, but do you have a slide on how schools qualify to be CEP? I think you answered, but can you answer it again? Because some people
Sure.
came in a little late.
Of course, yes. So to be eligible to be a CEP school, then at least 40% of enrolled students have to qualify for free meals for a reason other than the free and reduced meal application. So that's called a direct certified percentage. And so that's students that qualify for SNAP or food stamps, TANF, FDPIR, which is the Food Distribution Program for Indian Reservations, Medicaid, migrant, homeless, children that are ward of the state. Those students are automatically qualified for free lunch. And if a school has at least 40% of their enrollment of students that are directly certified, then they're eligible for CEP. And of our schools, 174 did qualify and meet that 40% guideline. So that's what we elected to participate in all 174 schools. And then 56 did not meet that 40%, line in the sand. So for this year, they're not participating. And then every April, we are going to reevaluate the data and see if any of those non-CEP schools would be eligible for the following year.
So I think also one of the important messages to articulate today for parents who are on the call that are at non-CEP schools, what message, what is the important message that you want to get across to those families?
Well, as we're coming out of, we're still in the pandemic. I don't even know when we can say we're out of it, but as we're dealing still in, a pandemic, and we are in an economic situation right now where people are really struggling. If you have a student enrolled in a non-CEP school, I would strongly encourage you to go ahead and apply for free and reduced meal benefits. Even if, prior to the pandemic, you thought, I'm never going to be in that situation. Life has changed. We are, I think, we're in a different world than we were prior to COVID. And it is getting, I'm sure everyone on this call is feeling squeezed because it's impacting every single bill and every single item that you purchase. And so we would encourage you to go ahead and apply for free and reduced meal benefits so that anyone at those 56 schools that's eligible for free lunch can go ahead and receive it. And then if you aren't approved for that, just know that breakfast is free for every student at every school. So even if you're going to have to pack a lunch, or we'd prefer you come get lunch from us and pay the meal price, you can be sure that you're going to get a free breakfast. Your student's going to get a free breakfast anywhere. And if your conditions change at any time, you don't have to just apply once. If you don't get approved right away, but then something happens, apply again. We want to make sure that anybody who is eligible for benefits can apply and get approved for those benefits.
Yeah, and I think that's important because when I was a teacher many years ago, I didn't think that I would qualify, but I filled out the application, and lo and behold, I did. I had 3 children and a husband. I was a teacher. I had a degree. We had a house and bills and cars, and and I just didn't think that I would qualify. But I took the chance and filled out the application, and I qualified. And so sometimes, just like you're saying, people may not realize that you may qualify. And I saw earlier on, and I want clarification, I saw earlier on the slide that you said, if you apply and you are found eligible for free or reduced price lunch, you get the lunch for free. Is that what you said?
That is correct. That is correct. So that is something that we do in Hillsborough County, that we take care of that reduced charge. So anybody who's eligible for free or reduced will receive lunch at no cost.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you so much for that, for this information. I really do appreciate it. So again, all of you on the call today, share this information, especially if your school is not a CEP school. It's going to be different this year. You may be coming to school expecting that free meal, and if you have not applied or put in an application for free meals or reduced price meals, you're going to be charged daily. Every day, and then there's going to be a bill that you'll have to pay or if your child is eating that lunch. So it's just better to try and then spread the word, because again, this was something that was allotted to us by the federal government to have that free and reduced lunch, but it's over for non-CEP schools. If you're a CEP school, you're still in the same boat. Your child can come to school, get the free lunch. But if you look at that list, we put it in the chat. If your school is a non-CEP school, make sure you fill out the application. And let's go through that one more time. Can you go back to that slide?
Yes, I'm going to see if I can do this easily here.
Okay. It's going to be I'm visual.
I know, me too.
But is there help at the school site to fill out those forms? That's one of the things that I wanted to know for people who may not have access to computers. Yes. If you have friends or family who don't have that access, because everything is electronic, right? It's not a paper pencil form anymore, correct?
Well, we have paper forms too.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, because
yes.
I did paper form. I was back in the day paper form.
Yeah, and your school will have paper forms if you need it.
Okay,
the nice
great.
thing is that even if you don't have a computer at home, but if you have a smartphone, which most people have a phone or have somebody who has a phone rather, we have an application from our website right on the phone. You can do it all on the phone. So it is super easy. I did want to go through, before I show you where that application is online, I want to just go through these 4 things for parents to know in case any parents joined the webinar late and they missed me saying this. So what to do if you have multiple children, right? And you're trying to figure out, do you need to fill out an application or not? So the first thing you want to do is check that school list to determine if your child or children attend a CEP school or not. That's number 1. Number 2, if you have students only enrolled in a CEP school, you do not need to fill out a meal benefit application. You are good to go. But number 3, if you have children that are students enrolled and 1 or more are in a CEP school and 1 or more are in a non-CEP school, you need to go ahead and fill out the meal benefit application and include all of the children on your application so that everybody is included in the number of people in the household. And the last thing is, if your student is at a CEP school and you withdraw them and you transfer them from a CEP school to a non-CEP school, you need to then fill out a meal benefit application for them, because that free status from the CEP school will only be extended for 10 days. And to find that application Angela was talking about, so you can on your phone or on your computer, if you just go to hillsboroschools.org/SNS, that's going to take you to our Student Nutrition Services page. And I've circled it here in red. You're just going to go to the meal application, school meal benefits. Once you click on that on your phone or on your computer, it'll take you right into the electronic application. If you prefer to do one on paper, just go to your school and ask for a paper application. Or if you have any questions at all, you can always call the Student Nutrition Services. I'm going to go to our contact us page here at 813-840-7092 if you have any questions about the application, or if you need to go to our office. We're in Silo Bend, right in Hillsborough County, if you need any assistance with the application, but you can also ask for assistance at your school.
All right, and I do have another question. Are the eligibility requirements for free and reduced lunch the same as previous years?
There's a new income eligibility table, and that is included also in the parent packet. but it's also on our website. So you can see the eligibility table right on our website. You just go to hillsboroschools.org/SNF.
And I do have a question, just for my purposes. How long does it take for the application to be approved, and can a student eat until that application is either approved or denied? Like, how does that work?
Well, I would strongly encourage parents who haven't applied for this year to go ahead and apply. By law, we have to process applications within 10 days. We are generally faster than that. And then any student that receives meals while the application is being processed, like between the time we receive the application and process the application, if that student is processed as free, then those meals that were eaten since that was received will be changed over from a paid to a free meal status. But we have to receive it before that clock starts. So the fastest way to do it is online, because with paper applications, they have to be sent to our office, and there is a lag time between when the parent turns them into the school and you think somebody has them, but lots of things can happen between that time and the time our office receives them. So the best thing to do would just be go on your smartphone or computer, fill it out electronically, and we get it immediately.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. And they can apply now, is what you're saying?
Yes, they can apply now. They go on there and go ahead and apply. They'll be good to go.
All right. So you heard it first. You heard it first. Go on. If your school is a non-CEP school, you need to tell your friends, tell your neighbors, go knock on their doors, let them know. Apply. Let them know, because if they're your next door neighbors, they're probably at the same school. But if not, you have the list. Look, you have the list. You show them where the list, show them where the online application is, and help. And let's work together to get the free meals, because they're not going to be free if you're a non-CEP school. They were free before. They're not going to be free. So you need to let all of your family members, all of your friends, all of your neighbors, your church members, your synagogue, your temple, your mosque, wherever you go, let your friends know. If they're a non-CEP school, this is so important for this upcoming school year. So with that, I want to thank you, student nutrition team. You are amazing. You're so informative. You all, I love the way you all really find the good tasting food, healthy foods for our students. And I just appreciate your hard work every day. You all are excellent in everything you do. And so with that, I want to say thank you. Are there any last words?
Well, just thank you so much. Thank you for the praise and the kudos. And, we are striving to be partners in education with all the educators who work so hard and have worked so hard over the past few years. We've all together been just, working with less people, less resources, and it's just been tough. And so we really appreciate the chance to make an impact on students' lives any way we can. So I would just say, please support school meals. And if you have any questions at all, if you, let's say you have a child with allergies and you have special diets or anything you need, do not hesitate to reach out. You can reach out directly to our office, or you can reach out to your cafeteria manager at your school, and we will make sure that your student's taken care of.
Thank you. I do have one more question. Someone received a letter from Children and Families for eligibility. Can they just turn that into the school, or would that information will go on the application?
No, they can go ahead and apply for that. Absolutely. Oh. And those types of things, applying for those services can only help impact our DC percentage. So yes, applying for other services is always great. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. There are no other questions. Everyone, thank you so much. Again, don't forget, we put the link to our Spanish speaking session that's coming on Thursday. The same information is going to be presented in Espanol only. So please let your family and friends know. And with that, we want to tell everyone thank you. I believe my executive director, Dr. Lewis, would you like to have anything to say? She's on the call. Maybe she left already. Well, we want to thank everyone for being with us. And with that, we want to say good night.